Hi, it's Steve. Today we'd like to show you how to replace the freezer door gasket on your refrigerator. It's a really easy repair. Let me show you how we do it. Now we find this repair is easier done if you remove the freezer door completely from the refrigerator. So before we begin, the first thing we suggest that you do is to remove any items that are on those freezer door shelves. And you may also wish to turn the refrigerator off during the repair. Now our next step will be to remove the hinge cap. Simply push it forward, pop it up, and then we'll remove the 3 mounting screws for the top hinge. These are typically a 5/16 hex head screw. Be sure to support that door as you remove the last screw. You can then lift the hinge out of the door, and now we're ready to take the door off, and we'll set it on a suitable work surface. Now to remove the old gasket, we'll note that it actually tucks in underneath the interior door liner, and because the insulation in the door is a foamed-in insulation, it tends to adhere to that gasket quite firmly. So you may need to take a thin blade putty knife. We'll just go in between the gasket and the outer door panel. Just go all the way around that gasket. That'll help break the bond with the insulation. Use caution not to damage the finish on the outer door panel. And just continue to do that all the way around the perimeter of the freezer door. Once we've done that, you can then take that gasket and pull it out from underneath and just continue all the way around the door until you have it free. Now, once we've removed the old gasket, we can discard it. Now, you will note that the new gasket has a different type of locking mechanism. There is a stiff rib on the outer edge of that gasket that's going to tuck up in underneath the inner door panel into that channel. So we'll need to make sure that we don't have any excess insulation in that area first. So again, we'll take our putty knife and we'll go around and just make sure that that's all removed and take care not to damage that inner door liner. Now, once we've done that, we'll also want to check and make sure that we don't have any deformations in that gasket. From shipping, sometimes you'll find that they get a little bit of a twist in them. So we suggest that you take that gasket, lay it in the bathtub with a couple of inches of really hot water and allow that to soften. Once we've done that, just bring it up, make sure that you can flex it easily until it lies nice and flat. You can also take a gasket of this size and put it in your clothes dryer and allow it to tumble for about 5 minutes on a reasonably low heat. Make sure that you don't leave it in too long. Now, before we go ahead and put that new gasket on, we're just going to wipe up all the way around the edge of the door. Make sure that we have no debris and get a nice clean surface for that gasket to sit on. Now, next we'll take that gasket and we're going to position it just off of the corner so that we can rotate that rib in underneath the edge of the inner door liner. Just find it easier to start from outside the corner and work your way into it. And then just carefully work our way along. Now, before we get to the opposing corner, we'll pick the same corner that we started on and try to fit that down into place. Now, if need be, you can use your thin putty knife to just gently lift up on that inner liner. Now, once we have that corner secure in both directions, we'll move along the length of the gasket and do the opposite corner. Now, as we approach the opposite corner, we'll need to pull fairly firmly on that gasket, enough to stretch it past the corner. And then we'll do the same procedure on the short side. So we'll just continue to work our way around that door. Paying careful attention in the corners. So as we work our way into the last corner, again, we'll need to make sure that we pull that out past enough that we can tuck in the opposing edge. And just go around the perimeter again and make sure that we have a nice flush seal with the outside edge of that gasket and the surface of the outer door panel. Once we're secure with that, we'll go ahead and put the door back on the refrigerator. So now we'll just make sure that we line up the bottom of the door with the center hinge pin. We'll reposition that top hinge and we'll thread those screws in by hand first. That way we're ensured that they're not cross-threaded. Once we've started them by hand, we'll tighten them just loosely. And then we'll make sure that the door lines up properly with the refrigerator door. Now, once we have that hinge secure, we'll next want to just go around the perimeter of the door and make sure that that gasket is fitting up tight against the cabinet. If you find any spots that are not making a good seal, we suggest that you apply just a little bit of heat using something like a hairdryer, but only gently, and allow that to soften. And if need be, tape the door shut until it gets a good seal. Once we've done that, our repair is complete.